Hi, what's up, guys? It's Will back once again, and this time we're here for the Dana White Contender series, which kicks off tomorrow night in Las Vegas at the Apex. And I asked you guys if you'd like me to do some predictions for this, and I'm going to do some weekly predictions for you guys. So these will be out every Sunday, every Monday. I was going to do it last night, but I fell asleep, so apologise for that. I'm going to get you through these fights in hopefully 10-15 minutes or less. It was nice kind of looking at some of these guys. I think there's some guys that deserve an opportunity. There's definitely some that don't. But yeah, nonetheless, we've got midweek fights, which is always good to have. If you can comment your picks, who you think who may get taken through into the UFC. And if you could subscribe, that would be awesome. The one thing I will say about the Dana White Contender series, to me, it's a little bit of a kind of different ball game from the UFC, because you've got fighters with certain skill sets who could predominantly be a wrestler, but because Dana wants exciting fighters, they will come out and they'll be throwing hands, they'll be throwing heavy leather, they'll be throwing game plans out the window, strategies kind of go out the window. So betting the Dana White Contender series is a little bit risky, and you have to be kind of careful in the spots that you pick. So just be a little bit cautious if you are making bets and if you are making putting any money in these fights, because a fighter you think could be predominantly a heavy grappler could come out here and just throw terrible strikes. So keep that in mind going forward. So we're going to get started here. I'm going to bring up what I think is the card, the way it's been kind of left out. We're starting off with Jose Flores against Jordan Levette. Jordan Levette 6-0. I think most of these wins are via submission. Fighting out of Syndicate MMA in Vegas. Looks very good. Looks like kind of promising grappler. Once he gets the fight to the ground, he is very kind of dominant down in there, and it's something that I kind of enjoyed watching. But again, so I think a lot of these guys in here have fought a lot of kind of low caliber opposition. He's coming off a win in the LFA, which is obviously a big jump from your kind of local promotions to moving into there. Beat Leavitt Lewis. That was a way back in July, not even that long ago, 6 weeks ago. I remember watching that. Got a beautiful anaconda choke. Isaiah Willem was another one that I've seen. So he's very good once the fight hits the mat. His striking definitely needs work. He is quite long. But he will look to get the fight to the ground. But with Jose Flores, who's a guy that was on the Dana White Contender series beforehand, he lost to Matt Frivola, and when I was watching him, he's another guy that kind of likes to get the fight to the ground. Will throw some nice kicks. He's got some nice long shots. His body attacks are really good. But to me, he looks like he's more comfortable once the fight hits the mat. I think he's a little bit outmatched on there. So to me, I think he's got the striking advantage. But we have seen him taken down a little bit, and quite easily as well. He was really kind of pinging up Matt Frivola with those body kicks, but then eventually once Frivola got his hands on him, he really kind of got outmatched on the ground. Frivola jumped to different positions, different advantageous positions very quickly. So I think a lot of people are on Jordan Levette for the simple fact that he's 6-0 and he's got a really good kind of ground game. In saying that, I've watched the last couple of fights that Flores has fought since he fought Frivola, and they weren't good fights. Like, the fighters he was against were not good fighters, and he got them out of there. I think they were like 0-5 was his last opponent, so that's never a good look. I'm going to take Jordan Levette. I'm going to take him via decision. I think this could be close though. I think if the money line starts going up in Jose Flores a little bit, then maybe a small shot on him wouldn't be out of order. I think this is going to be a close fight. I think that Flores knows this is his big opportunity after the Frivola fight, and he was close to getting Frivola out of there in that first fight, because he was launching those body kicks in real hard. But I think that Jordan's just going to do enough, and I think he's going to win via a decision in that win there. Moving on, who have we got here? Luis Ronaldo Rodriguez against Jerome Rivera. These are guys. This is going to be at flyweight. I think it's the first time, I believe, that Rodriguez is dropping to flyweight. He's fought a lot of kind of not in shape like bantamweights. He's fought guys that just look a little bit wide, not fought the best caliber opposition. It's hard to really find many fights on him out there, if I'm being honest with you. But he spams some low kicks. He's got some grappling. The couple of times I did see him when he was a little bit of trouble, he kind of throws kind of caution to the wind, and when getting back to his feet, if he gets taken down or something happens, he will just try and pop straight back to his feet. So his back can be taken, and against someone like Rivera, who I think is He's decent. I know about Rivera because obviously, if you've been watching Brandon Royval, you'll probably come across the free kick accident where he got his, I think it was his forearm snapped off a kicker at a Royval, and it was pretty gnarly. But this is the guy who, 5 years old, a couple of losses, one via TKO, one via submission. Most of his wins coming via submission. He's a guy that I think will want to get the fight to the ground. I think that he's definitely fought the better caliber opposition. Even Roberto Sanchez, who used to fight in the UFC, and Zach Riley, I think, are decent fighters. And he's went 10, 15 minutes with those guys and did all right with them. Royval, like I said, has a freak injury, but then he's came back in his last two fights, and we saw back in January against Kenrick Larchman, once he gets the fight to the ground, he's got long levers. He can catch you, especially in that triangle, and if he can put the body triangle in as well, he can get you there. So I quite like Jerome Rivera. I think if you're going to use him, maybe bet him. I can't remember what his line is. I remember looking this morning at these lines. So he's minus 240. So that's kind of high. But like I say, I think he might kind of be a parlay piece. But I haven't really seen that much of Rodriguez, so I'm going to pick Rivera. I'm going to pick him via decision. I think he's too long. I think he's too good on the ground. I think this is a big step up in opposition from what Rodriguez has fought before. So I'm going to take Jerome Rivera to win via first round submission. Actually, I'm going to pick him in that one. Could be a little bit of a war too, kind of Mexican guys, Mexican kind of backgrounds and stuff like. So it could be a good fight, but I have got Rivera via sub in round one. I think he's got a decent opportunity, maybe of getting a contract out of that. Uros against Mikey Gonzalez. Both guys, again, fought pretty low caliber opposition. I definitely think there's better prospects out there, in my opinion. Dog is barking out there, so I apologise about that. So I've got Medic in this one here. When I was watching Gonzalez, he fought Justin Baseman, a guy that I've come across numerous times over his career, and he's a little bit of a punching bag, but he is very experienced. I think Mikey Rodriguez is like 35, 36 years old, which is a little bit concerning. He's not really fought all that much at eight pro fights, and he's really did that over the space of like 6-7 years. Coming off a win over DJ Johnson, which I saw him there with a guillotine choke where he kind of blasted in it and then got caught there. Medic was seen in the Alaskan fight scene. You'll watch his fights on UFC Fight Pass there, and very long, good straight left hand, good straight left high kick, left to the body, can be taken down, and can be kind of kept on the ground a little bit, but he will get his levers up there. And he's another one of these fighters that will try and explode back to his feet, might give up position a little bit, but he's fought. I mean, that last fight against Alonzo Leishman, like that guy had nothing except for diving for legs and really got beat up very, very badly. The Flowers one, he got taken down, was put in his back, but managed to find a triangle choke. So predominantly both these guys are strikers. I think that Uros, even though he's a little bit inexperienced, I think that he's got the advantage here. So I'm going to take Medic. He's minus 140, I think, over here in the UK. Minus 150 in America, minus 155. I like him in that one, and that's a play I'm kind of thinking of maybe having is on Medic, but I'll need to wait and see. I like some of his striking. Everybody seems to be taking him down. If he can keep it standing, I think he's got a little bit of an advantage there. So I'm going to take Medic. I'll take him via decision in that one. Moving on, we have I think is it Kenny Cross? Yeah, Kenny Cross against Damonte Robinson. I couldn't really find all that much in Damonte Robinson when I seen him. He was a guy that I was like, right, I need to go and find some tape on, and I just couldn't find. 4-1 record. Again, not the greatest opposition. Coming off a draw away back in 2017, so the guy's not fought in coming on nearly 3 years. So a guy that's been out for a long, long time. He's lost against Devontae Smith away back in early 2017 or mid 2017. And Kenneth Cross, to me, I think this is a good opportunity for Kenny Cross. He was fighting Kevin Seiler, who I thought was going to be a really, really fun fight. It was the main event, I think, of this first week, but then that got pulled because Seiler, I think, caught COVID-19. So yeah, and he's a guy that's got a decent 10-0 record. I think he was lining up to maybe get into the UFC with an exciting win here. He already fought Lance Lawrence way back in the Dana White Contender Series before. But I think I've got Kenneth Cross in this. Like I say, I've not seen a hell of a lot of Robinson. What I have seen of Cross is that he's decent. He's coming off a win over Robert Hale's a guy that I know coming out of the Georgia fight scene. There was a kind of head clash in that really just pushed Cross to kind of win that in the first round there. A little bit unfortunate. Beat Jonas Flock with a nice first round finish. And his last 4 wins are via first round finishes. So it'll be interesting to see if this goes out. This is a guy I think can be super aggressive here, and I think he will be an aggressive fighter. He has lost a couple of times. He's been submitted 3 times, so if he gets a little bit too... If it's against a guy who's decent on the ground, he could get picked apart. But I think this is a good fight on short notice for him, so I'm going to pick Kenneth Cross. I think he's got a good opportunity of actually being picked up here if he can maybe get that first round finish, and he's against a guy that hasn't really fought all too much in the last couple of years. So I'm going to take Kenneth Cross there for the win. And the main event of the night, we have... Ty Flores against Dustin Jacoby, and I'll tell you what, I was not impressed with Ty Flores when I was watching him. I thought he was not great at all. I thought he was very slow. Even I think some of the things that I do like is that he fights out elevation in Colorado. I think both guys do, but his striking is not good. It's very laboured. He's very hittable. And he's not fought really good fighters at all, if I'm being honest with you. Some of the pros and cons that I kind of wrote down for some, especially for Flores, he looks to kind of dictate the pace. He looks to like dictate where the fight's going to be going, really. A wrestler by trade, heavy ground and pound once it gets it there. And that's something that I think is what he'll be looking for here against a striker in Dustin Jacoby. Like I say, stays very heavy in top position, will look to throw leg kicks, but he throws them very sloppily as well, and he looks to lock you up against the cage and dirty box a little bit to get the takedowns. So some of the cons, he ducks his head into leg kicks and knees very easily against a guy with a kickboxing background like Jacoby. I think that's a bad thing to do, but he is very reliant on his takedowns because his striking is very sloppy. Throws a lot of single shots, which I don't like. Can be pushed back, and he can be controlled against the cage a little bit here and there. Doesn't really get garner underhooks very well. I feel against a good submission grappler, he's going to get, even if they're off their back, he's going to get submitted, and he hangs his chin in there, and I don't like that at all. Now, Dustin Jacoby is a guy that's coming over from glory, has fought MMA, has fought in the UFC. I broke down his fights in the past, a couple of losses back there, one against Chris Camozzi. So we know what this guy's going to do. He's going to be a kickboxer here. He's going to keep that distance. He's going to spam leg kicks. That's one of his big weapons. He's got beautiful low kicks. And he's fought decent opposition. I mean, he fought Simon Marcus, who's a guy who is probably very recognisable in the kickboxing scene. If you watch that, I'm not as much into it, but I know who he is. Smooth left hand jab, threw off some very nice takedowns against Cody, who's a former UFC vet. Very patient with his striking, picks his shots extremely well. Will double and triple up his jab and then come across with an overhand right. Should have a massive speed advantage in my opinion. Just looking at some of the fights I was watching of Flores, he looks slow and a little sloppy, and he kind of relies on fighting out elevation and being able to go hard for numerous parts of the fight there. Throws elbows off the... throws elbows when people are attempting takedowns. I like that. And he switches stances and is very efficient off both sides. Obviously, some of the things I don't like, he's had one fight in 5.5 years, MMA fight, which is never good, but and his takedown defense I still don't think is great, but I think that he can stop. I think he can stop Flores here. So I'm pretty confident that Dustin Jacoby can get a first round TKO here. I think that he's got by far the better skill set on the feet, where he can pick this guy apart. I think he will find a shot, and Flores is, to me, his head's hanging there all the time to be hit. So that's my week 1 predictions here, guys. I hope you appreciate that. I want to know your picks in this for all this, because like I say, the Dana White Contender Series to me is a little bit of a wild one. You don't know what's going to happen. So there's going to be some big underdogs come through. There's going to be some big shocks. I want to see if some of you guys can pick them out. So week in and week out, I want you to leave your picks, your fights. It's only 5 picks. You have to drop them in there, and let's see if we can get a good record going for this Dana White Contender Series. So I appreciate you guys for watching. If you can like, comment, and subscribe, it would be much appreciated. I'm going to try and get the UFC predictions out for tonight, but I might be a little bit of a busy boy. If not, they'll be out Wednesday. But until then, enjoy the fight Tuesday night if you're watching live, and I'll be back soon for the UFC fight predictions. Lewis versus Olenek very soon. Take care, all the best.